Hello chess fans, we're back with another over the board analysis video, and today I'm going to analyze my game from the Maritime Chess Festival. And the funny thing about the Maritime Chess Festival this year is that Hikaru was actually playing, and so this is a picture of me and Hikaru. So really nice to see a 2800 player in the Maritimes. You don't see that very often. But yeah, let's jump into the context of the game. So in this game I was against Mark Plotkin, and he was at 3 out of 4. I was also at 3 out of 4, and I actually came into this game knowing that if I win, I was guaranteed against Hikaru. So I decided to play a little bit riskier than I normally do. So my opponent started off with d4, and I went for d6, looking to be a little bit more ambitious. My opponent went for knight f3. Here you can also go for c4 or e4, but those are just different lines. Knight f3 sort of prevents the e5 idea. Here I went for g6, looking for a modern. My opponent went g3. So I think my opponent's goal with this opening was just to pretty much just get me out of theory, and I think that worked pretty well. So I was expecting c4, and then we would transpose to like some sort of modern with like bishop g7, e5, but okay, my opponent played g3, bishop g7, bishop g2, and here I spent a long time. Like I spent 5 minutes. I didn't really know what to do, and there's a lot of options. Like I continue with the modern with like knight c6, or I could go knight d7, e5. I can't go e5 right away because okay, I have to move my king, and that endgame's pretty bad. But I decided to go for knight f6, which transposes back into the King's Indian, but I thought that this is sort of a strange line of the King's Indian where he didn't commit to c4 right away. Maybe now he doesn't have enough time to get e4. So castles, castles, c4, and this is a line of the King's Indian fianchetto. And luckily for me here, I actually recently looked at a game of Fabiano Caruana, and he played this move, bishop f5. And the idea is simply to prevent e4 under all circumstances. And usually, for example, black would continue with something like, okay, what does black usually continue with? Like knight c6, and then here knight c3, e5, let's say, and then d5, knight e7, and e4. And this would be like a typical continuation. White's definitely better. But I went bishop f5 with the idea that to meet knight c3 with knight e4. And now we threaten to double their pawns. And after they doubled their pawns, they're never going to get e4 because I'm going to put a bishop on e4. So for example, knight h4 is a common move here with take, go bishop c8, and here they have a Ruy Lopez, or not a Ruy Lopez, a Nimzo Indian, where I still have the dark squared bishop. So this is about equal, but I honestly prefer black there. And then here there's some other moves like knight e4, and then here they never get to play the e4 move, and there's this move queen b3, after which I take, and then go for bishop e4. This also protects and defends. It's about equal, but okay, not so pleasant. So instead, my opponent instantly blitzed the move knight d5. And after the game, my opponent just said that they just wanted to play a move. Like they didn't actually know the position as theory, but turns out knight d5 is the main move. And it's unfortunately the only move that I just had never looked at before. So the game I was referring to did not have knight d5 played. So here I was pretty much on my own. So I played the most logical move, c6, attacking the knight. The knight goes back to e3. He does not want to have his pawns doubled. And here I already regret the move that I played. So here probably the best move is bishop e6. Now the reason I didn't play that is because I was worried about this d5 tempo being free, but here what I failed to pretty much recognize was that this c5 square, like after a5, knight a6 or something like that, is just really, really nice for me. And yeah, my opponent probably shouldn't give up c5 so easily. So they probably wouldn't have done that. They would have gone something like maybe like queen c2, defending and attacking, and then here I could go for d5. And then again, I switched my setup up. So yeah, I think it's a little bit difficult when you're playing modern to be like, okay, let's just move the pawn twice. Here even I could go for f5, and then after b3, the engine really likes this with d5. This setup with f5 and d5. Yeah, to me this is like very foreign. And funnily enough, actually, Mark's opponent in the next round, Mark also had white, and his opponent did employ this same f5, d5 setup, probably knowing the lines of the engine, or maybe finding them over the board, which I was not able to. But okay, so I wasn't able to find that line there. So instead of that, after c6, I went for bishop c8, which is a little bit of a passive move, but the idea was to get knight d7, f5, and e5. My opponent went queen d3. And here, if I go knight f6, it's very, very passive. There's pretty much no ideas. My opponent has misplaced their knight a little bit, yes, but okay, the knight can always go to d1 or c2 and then regroup after e4. So here I decided to switch the position to a Dutch. I decided to play f5, and I thought I was getting a good Dutch because this knight is just terrible on e3. This knight has pretty much nowhere to go. And I also have this free move knight e4. So I thought maybe I can play e5 in one go. So I thought I was getting a really good Dutch. Now the funny thing here is I actually do not play the Dutch at all. So I have no idea how to play the Dutch, and it pretty much showed from this game. And I think my opponent really did a good job positionally punishing me. First move is b4. Gain more space on the queen side, look to push these pawns, maybe go rook b1 next. Makes a lot of sense, because what is he going to do other than push on the queen side? I went a5. I tried to carve out this c5 square for my knight, but it turned out to not be so good. Like, my main ideas here were just wrong. I need to go for this bishop e6 and then d5 idea, or even knight d7, rook b1, knight f6, something like this, along the lines of this. Just be very, very slow. Look for e5 at one point, bring the king away, bring the rooks to the center, and then eventually push e5. But I was too greedy. I went for a5, b5, and e5 immediately. And I thought, okay, I'm pretty much guaranteed getting the c5 square for a knight. But it turns out I'm just a little bit too slow here. My opponent took, went bishop a3, attacking my rook. I moved, and then here my opponent again played a really, really nice move. I think you should pause the video, try to find it. White to move, and only pretty much one good move, and that's what my opponent found. And yeah, black has like not many threats here, but I sort of have the threat that, okay, positionally I am going to be better if I get the c5 square. Your knight is horrible. But here I just don't have enough time. White is getting to the center way too quickly, and I can't do anything about that. So queen c2, excellent move by my opponent. I went knight d7, blocking the file. Takes. This could just be inserted whenever. And then c5. This is another very, very nice move. This diagonal extremely weak, and the c6 pawn is just completely backwards. And here it was my last chance to maybe do something complicated. Here I really should have gone bishop f8. It's a very tough move to play undeveloping the bishop, but I'm pretty much guaranteed to win this pawn. And while I did see that, I thought I was just losing. For example, knight here, the engine really likes this. This is what it says is the best option for black. And then, for example, here, if bishop e6 attacking this and also looking to finally develop, then apparently if he takes here, bishop d5 is already close to equal. Okay, again, this is just, I think, very, very difficult to see. Here, apparently, bishop b2 is still giving white a big advantage here. Takes, take with the f knight. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then there's pressure here too. But okay, I didn't see any of that. So instead of that, I just looked intuitively. Even if I win this c5 pawn, I thought, okay, the c6 pawn is going to hang, and then I have so many light squared weaknesses. This bishop is just terrible. So instead I went queen c7, defending this pawn for the time being, so that, okay, maybe I can move this knight. I also wanted to get out of the d file, and also maybe preparing rook b8 in some positions. This queen helps defend the rook. And here my opponent went g4. So g4 was actually a bad move, and also g4 was a move that I didn't see at all. So finally my opponent slips up a little bit, and I pretty quickly just took here, and my opponent took back. And then, so I knew that I pretty much have to take. Like, I don't actually have another option. If I go here, then just takes, and then knight h4, for example, f4 here, and these knights are just monsters dominating, and everything is hanging. So I thought I was completely losing here, so I pretty much have to take. And if he goes here, okay, I have this nice intermezzo knight here, and then he would actually just be losing something like this. Takes, and like e4 probably. The idea being takes, queen takes, bishop h3 wins the exchange. Or I guess it actually doesn't. So why does e4 work? Queen takes here, because he has bishop, here. Okay, apparently this is... okay, well, I win the exchange because then this is hanging. This bishop here is hanging. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, I would be doing well there. So he didn't take with the queen. He instead went knight g4. And here's where I really, really blundered. Now, apparently here I'm actually not doing that badly. Surprisingly, because, okay, he did get rid of pretty much one of my weaknesses, I guess. It's actually not even entirely clear. Basically, now I can just open up my bishop. This knight has a square to go to. Previously, it was impossible because he has like knight g5 ideas. But here, I should have gone knight here. And what I was worried about... I should have gone knight here. What I was worried about was this move knight e3. And then I just don't really have a good move. Like, this knight has no squares. Now, what I should have recognized is that whenever this knight moves, I get the g5 square because this knight was covering g5. And so I was really worried about this knight being trapped, but maybe I didn't have to worry as much. For example, here, like bishop e6 or something, or even bishop f8 is the best move according to the engine, knight e1, and then knight g5, I'm just getting away. So he shouldn't go knight e1, he should continue developing, but okay, I'm already pretty close to equal. Instead of that, I went knight here, completely missing brilliant move by my opponent, knight g5. And if I take, he has queen c4, and I just have no way to defend the mate. For example, after knight g5, if I take here, he has queen c4, and then if I go here, there's checkmate in 1. And then if I go here, it would be a nice little smothered mate here, queen g8, and then knight f7 would have been a nice way to end the game. Here I'm up a queen and a piece, but okay, I made it. So yeah, queen and knight are very, very dangerous. So yeah, I just completely missed that. And here I went knight f8, which is maybe not the best move, but I looked to protect the e6 square. My opponent took, and then went knight e4, and now this is just completely positionally lost. But actually here, I still had some chances to fight. Bishop g7, knight d6. This is all natural. I mean, rook e7 only move. Queen e4. Attacking the pawn, I have to defend it with bishop d7. Rook b1, threatening to go here. Well, I don't really care if he goes here because I still have a square opening for my queen. And I can't really do anything to protect that. Like, rook a7 would be horribly passive. Rook b7, queen d8, queen c4. And here I really shouldn't have played what I did. Now, my rook actually is doing a nice job here covering b8. And then when I traded, I pretty much allowed him to get to b8 easily. So instead of that, I probably should have just gone to h6 with the idea to go king h7. And then the position is, it's very difficult. Like, it's actually not clear how white makes any inroads. Like, even if they go bishop b2 or something, this pawn is never flying. And then I can get into here. Let's say they play a move like e3, preventing me from getting into here. It's not clear at all. But yeah, rook b8 is a bad move. Takes. Bishop f6. My idea is to clear some squares for my king with king g7, queen b3, king g7, queen b6, offering the trade of queens, and also threatening the c6 pawn. And here, sorry about that. And here I pretty much have no moves. I end up playing this move e4, which is just clearly a blunder. Queen g8 might have been my last chance here. If he plays rook b8, then I have knight f8, just defending this pin. And then if he's a little bit lackadaisical here, like bishop x c6, then I do have queen x8 too. And then, okay, I do have some counterplay here. But he doesn't have to do that. He can just go like queen d8. And then, yeah, I can't move. Because if I move my queen now, I just get checkmated. So, yeah, I just don't have any legal moves pretty much. I have to go like rook e6. And then, okay, you can just improve forever. This is the engine line, and it's apparently +3. But, okay, that's not obvious to find. Instead of that, I went e4, which, okay, the refutation after this is now easy. Like, okay, he could actually take here. And, oops, sorry. Yeah, he could take here. And then my idea was that I have queen f8, and that now if he goes rook b8, something like this, wasting a lot of time, then I have bishop d4. And then at least I have some threats. And if he goes e3, I don't know. I was dreaming. I mean, I guess I can be allowed to dream. I thought maybe I have some threats. Maybe. Probably I don't have anything, but yeah, here my opponent is very clinical with playing the move e3. And now I just don't even have a move anymore. I didn't really know what to do. Here I should probably go king h6, in which case after he takes here, I have queen f8 at least to get the queen out like this. And maybe I still have some ideas now if rook b8, queen g7, and okay, it's not extremely clear. Takes, I guess, bishop e5. I mean, okay, he's completely winning, but it's still a game. Instead I went bishop e5. Okay, this is just stupid. I wanted to go like this, but then he goes bishop b2 and I have to take. Then he goes queen f6, threatening knight f7, and also threatening knight f5, king h5 here. My only pretty much move to stop it was knight f8. But then, okay, this still loses after knight f7 takes, and then he takes my queen. So I went king h5, and then he went bishop takes, or sorry, he went knight takes e4, and yeah, he's threatening queen g5 if my knight moves. He's threatening knight g3. He's threatening bishop f3, knight g3, knight f5, and yeah, I have no way to parry all the threats. My best move is king h6, and then funnily enough, my opponent told me they're gonna go knight d6 back, and now I can't go king h5 because of bishop f3. So yeah, I think it was a very, very nice game by my opponent. Definitely some instructive points in there. For example, when you have to shift your setup. I went for this bishop c8, trying to be ambitious with going like f5 and go for the attack. But this e5 stuff is maybe a little bit too slow. Like maybe you have to switch your plans to go for d5 and e4. Otherwise, you're just positionally losing. So yeah, that's the end of today's video, guys. If you liked the video, please remember to like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.